All right, hey everybody, welcome back to part two of Olias of Sunhillow by Jon Anderson. This is the second side of the album. Um, I've already listened to the full album when I'm recording these. Uh, yeah, so thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm not sure actually when I'm recording this. I'm not sure if I'll have time to do it, but if I do, I'm gonna try to take the little like the short story that's in here and try to like narrate it so at the end I can like find some of this art online and kind of just have it in a slideshow while I voice over everything going on here rather than just read it, because that might be boring. I don't know. And also take a really long time. So maybe I'll put that at the end too. So yeah, if you're interested in that, stick around to the end. And as always, we're going to go over the lyrics and everything we normally do. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's get into it. All right, this is side two. Let's go. This album is definitely feels like I don't even know how to describe it. It has a very distinct sound, very unique feeling to it. I really like it so far. Thank you for showing me this, guys. I appreciate it. I just want to like close my eyes and listen to it. god or something has entered the scene. What is he saying? Oh wow, this song's 12 minutes long. Okay. Let's go. This album is making me feel a lot of different weird things that music doesn't. Yeah, it's very interesting. music keeps going, like, for a second will sound dissonant and then go back together. Almost feels as though evil was approaching for a few minutes and then it kind of went away. No way that was 12 minutes. No, yeah, that's what I thought. Didn't feel like it at all. Doesn't really feel like it's been 9 minutes either. This music is very interesting to me. I have a lot of thoughts on just the vibe of it. It's very calming too, though. Sorry if I keep yawning or whatever. Fills my mind with so many images and impressions. Like sparks the imagination, if you will. Last song. Let's go. Let's go. That was really interesting. This has been quite the experience. Thank you guys for joining me. To the runner. Let's go. wow. I did not really know what to expect going into this, and it's different than anything that I've really. It's, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I need some time to kind of mull over everything. Obviously, by the time part one of this is up, I'll have already done it, though, so you hearing me say this means absolutely nothing. All right, cool. Um, Thank you so much for joining me. Let's get into the lyrical dissections and all of that. All right. So it has been a minute since I recorded the first lyrical dissection portion of this album, and now I am back, and I have listened to the record. Uh, I think two and a half more times. Nearly finished with the first side again. Um, but yeah, I was just listening to it on the speakers, and yeah, this is a very interesting album. I've listened to it while writing, and it's interesting the paths that like my mind goes down when I'm listening to this music as opposed to other music. Yeah, what I was writing, I actually had to like switch. Like this music inspired me in a different way than what I would normally listen to while doing whatever it is that I do. And it was just very interesting. And yeah, there's multiple moments on here where it kind of transcends being meditation type music, and um, it suddenly like overwhelms you with these sonic waves of bliss. Really, it's crazy. It's very interesting how Anderson composed this. And from looking at the comments under the first video, there seems to be mixed opinions. They seem to be generally more favorable, so that's good. But yeah, some people dislike it because of the slower nature or the more spaced out feeling of the music, or how some of it could it definitely feels like something you might meditate to or something like that, which that's it's valid. That's the direction Jon Anderson wanted to go, though, so all respect to him for doing that, and I really like it. So but yeah, it's very different from what I normally listen to, so it's also been a very unique experience for me, although I'm sure there's um, other music that kind of takes the same form. Although I highly doubt that other music that takes the same form would be as complex or as stunningly beautiful as this record is. But who knows? Anyway, so yeah, there's not that many tracks that we have left to go over. There's one instrumental that lasts like a really long time, I believe. I think. Let me make sure I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the Moon Ra. It's technically 3 songs, though. So Moon Ra Chords and Song of Search. Yeah. But anyway, let's start. The first is Solid Space. And here we have, and again, apologies that I don't have a ton to say about the lyrics, because they're very, even more so than typical Yes lyrics. They're very much painting a picture, and he's using almost almost a stream of consciousness effect by putting his own words into your mind to conjure up other thoughts and other images, and it's interesting, and your mind kind of fills in blanks and stuff. So yeah, it's very esoteric, very mysterious, very the flow of the words is very interesting. Anyway, let's see. Hold my life, cross the path, course and curl my dreams away. Fast the soul, make the break, as the stars that form the way. Rider, turn a mountain, send them lost among the flowers of the young. Turn a mountain, send them lost among the flowers of the young. Rider, 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 hold my life, cross the path. I think that's a repeat, right? Yes, it is. All right, rider, rider, rider. So we're on a journey. We're very much on a journey, and now it feels like we're hurtling through space. One of the comments under my video also talked about how this album is something of a spiritual journey, and you're traveling into the soul even, which it's an interesting I like it. I like that interpretation. But yeah, there's also a plot that goes with the album, which is explained in the short story and also on the Wikipedia page, which we are going to be reading. So yeah, next we have Moon Ra, which is such a ironic name for a song because if I'm not mistaken, Ra is the god of the sun in Egyptian mythology, I think, or the more specifically the god who like pulls the sun with a chariot, right? I could, yeah, I think so. I think so. Worlds that lie between are simply seconds of words we do not mean. Cast a pastel sky, or simply wonder until the day you die. Eyes have never seen, so pass your future caressing all you've been. All you say, all you dreamed, all memory awaken. Chords, Olias all surrounding the storm, to caress all who fall, amidst love's light, shine out, call. So brightly to each tribe came release, higher dreams overtook the smallest hands, crystallized inside a sleep. Close your eyes. Only wait for the call. Close your eyes, the moor glade, she will sail to the north. All around will delight our eyes, now as one will sound our lives to the sun, as we wait for the call, to ascend to the stars, all to enter your heart, to your love, to your love, to your love. Through change of dawn, see peace will come, peace will reign. All along our days, see your love. It's such a beautiful album lyrically as well. All right, then this one, Chords and Song of Search, is an instrumental. A very good instrumental. The song is incredible. And then we have To the Runner. Hold, come a day, dream, ask a flower to kneel when you pray to the runner. Spurn all ye kindle and cradle his sweet pleasure as you look farther and farther beyond him, beyond him, beyond him. Call for the giver, the taker, rejoicing as you just look farther and farther beyond him. Spurn all ye kindle and cradle his sweet pleasure. In it all to the devil take. In it all to the devil take. Is that the last track? Yes, I think so. Damn. All right. Yeah. In it all to the devil take. Interesting. The last track is a bit of an enigma because the entire rest of the album is very has very positive vibes, I suppose I should say. Or this last track almost seems to end. It could end. I could be wrong though. On a mildly negative note lyrically. Spurn all, kindle and cradle sweet pleasure, in it all to the devil take. Let's take a look at Wikipedia, and let's do a little bit of research, shall we? Olias of Sunhillow is the debut studio album. Oh, it was his first album. Wow, all right, by English singer-songwriter Jon Anderson, released in July of 76 by Atlantic Records. When the progressive rock band Yes took a break in activity in August of 75 for each member to record a solo album, Anderson, having established himself as their frontman, decided upon a concept album that tells the story of 4 tribes of an alien race and their journey to a new planet after their home is threatened by a volcanic eruption. Olias, a magician, builds a spacecraft called the Moorglade Mover and is helped by fellow magicians Ranyart and Quoquag to gather and carry the population to their new home. The album was recorded using a mobile studio situated at Anderson's country home in Sear Green, Buckinghamshire, with himself as the sole producer and Mike Dunn Dune as the engineer. Musically, the album features elements of progressive rock with psychedelic folk, experimental electronics, and world music, lots of world music, and features Anderson playing every instrument. That's astounding. Wow. And includes a variety of keyboards, guitars, and percussion. The track Ocean Song was performed live at select shows during Yes's... Wow, that's awesome. During Yes's 96 North American tour. Olias of Sunhillow peaked at number 8 on the UK album charts, the best performing chart position of the solo albums released by the band at the time. It reached number 47 on the US Billboard 200. It received generally favorable reviews from music critics and was reissued in 2021 with a remastered stereo mix
from which a 5.1 surround sound mix was created. Since 2000, Anderson has been working on music for a sequel entitled The Songs of Zamran, Son of Olias, which centers around the creation of Earth's structure. Since 2000, though, so he's been working on it for 21 years, or he's just not going to finish it. Interesting. Oh, he only ever released 2 solo albums then, huh? All right. Interesting. The story originates from artwork that Roger Dean produced for Yes. Um, for his solo effort, he wished to present a concept album which told a semi-science fiction story inspired by the artwork that Roger Dean had designed for Fragile. Dean's first piece of work for the group, the front cover depicts a tiny planet breaking apart and a glider escaping into space, which Anderson adapted into the story with additional inspiration from The Finding of the Third Eye, The Initiation of the World, and The Lord of the Rings. The latter book by Alder describes the theory of 4 nature tribes that once lived on the planet, which became the 4 tribes in Olias that were not of people but music consciousness tribes. That's so trippy. I love it. On the first day of recording, Anderson had yet to have a concrete story, but started to formulate one slowly from watching the sunrise that morning. He spent about a year on the story. Looking back on the album, he thought it was not that well mapped out and with vague interpretations of different characters and settings. I just thought of the story as 3 magicians coming out of space to take these tribes from one planet to another to save them from destruction. It was a very simple story. I hope it will be taken on a level without people thinking there are any hidden meanings. Well, I do appreciate him saying that. At the same time, a lot of the fun in music is finding as many interpretations as I can, especially when it comes to lyrics or music, just interpreting how the music sounds and what emotions it's supposed to be evoking. Um, uh, a great example of this, actually, and this is such a random thing for me to suddenly bring up, but I just thought of it. My mom was talking about a song. What's it called? Anyway, that's the point. It's not important. Mr. Jones, that's what it was called. Sorry that took so long. But yeah, Mr. Jones. And in the song Mr. Jones, there's a line where the guy's like, um, I look at the TV and I want to see myself in the TV. That's what he says. Something like that. He wants to see himself on the TV. Then he goes on to say we all want to be big stars in the song. My mom really likes that song, and I like learned it on guitar and we were trying to sing it together, and she kind of had an epiphany where she was like, wait, what if him saying he wants to see himself in the TV means he wants to turn off the TV and then you like see your reflection in it? And I was like, holy cow, that's such a great like double meaning for the line, and actually plays into themes throughout the rest of the song of like a lot of different feelings around like fame and trying to attain fame, which is kind of, there's a bunch of different things going on in that song lyrically, but it was just interesting how like that the person who wrote that probably did not intend for that interpretation, probably didn't write it with that in mind, but my mom had this like really cool alternate way of looking at it. So anyway, I guess my point is, I understand when he would say wants to be taken on a level without people thinking there are any hidden meanings, or at least intentional hidden meanings. But I love looking for hidden meanings in music, especially progressive music or music that is very open to interpretation, like the music of Yes and the lyrics of Yes. And yeah, anyway, sorry, let's continue. Anderson's growing desire to learn about musical structure and his own performing capabilities with various instruments made Olias of Sunhillow a platform for him to explore this with a self-taught approach without help from other musicians. He had previously relied on his Yes bandmates for seeing his ideas for songs through. Despite his insecurities regarding his own instrumental abilities, he had collected multiple instruments during Yes tours and dabbled with them. Having considered spending time learning to play the piano with a teacher, he eventually decided against this, choosing instead to spend several months practicing on everything within his instrument collection until he was satisfied that he progressed enough to record an album with them. Halfway through the album, it became clear to Anderson that what he could and could not do. You just find out where you're at being able to express yourself. It was an intense period of time. Despite not being proficient with keyboards or percussion instruments at the time, Anderson thought, what I've pulled off attracts me and sounds right, and focused on the accuracy of expressing his ideas to tape rather than technical ability of his playing. which is bravo, very well done. That's kind of what I do too, and I'm learning to do it better and better, and also obviously learning as well. But I've never had a formal teacher for anything except for singing, and for the vocal coach, I think I've spoken to her a total of 3 times. So it's still because that stuff is expensive, man. But yeah, it's difficult, and like I said, expensive to have people teach you to do stuff, and yeah, it's easier to try to learn. It's not easier to try to learn by ear, but it sticks. It would seem to stick more, and when you just focus on what attracts you and what sounds right, that's as long as you're enjoying what you're doing, that's the main point. Anyways, all right, here's the plot. The planet of Sunhillow is home to 4 tribes. These 4 names. I literally just said 4 tribes, and I say 3. These 4 names, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce, each of which represents a different aspect of music consciousness, which comes under threat after a catastrophic eruption of its volcano. Olias, a magician, is the chosen architect of an ark named the Moorglade Mover to fly Sunhillow's people to a new planet. He is helped by fellow magicians Ranyart, the harp-playing navigator of the glider, and Koquake, the mystic and appointed spokesperson who unites the 4 tribes to leave the planet together. Olias fashions the Moorglade Mover by persuading Sunhillow's trees and fish to sacrifice their lives and substance to form it, while Koquake travels across Sunhillow using trance singing to bring together the mutually suspicious tribes to unite and board the ship. So like an arc kind of story. With the population on board and in a collective trance, the ship leaves Sunhillow just before the planet explodes into millions of silent teardrops. As the glider travels through deep space, the refugees succumb to the mysterious Moon Ra, a force of disorientation, creating an evil form out of their panic and frustration. They are reassured and reunified by Olias through his singings of the chords of love and life. The Moorglade Mover lands on the plains of a new planet named Asgard, and the tribes disembark and go their separate ways. Their mission completed, Olias, Ranyart, and Koquake ascend the highest of Asgard's mountains to sleep and become one with the universe. It took 4 months to record this album. That's crazy. Despite repeated requests from Anderson, Roger Dean was too busy to commit to designing the cover, so Anderson decided upon a series of designs by artist David Fairbrother Rowe. That's sad that Roger Dean, who inspired the whole thing, wasn't able to make a cover for it. I mean, obviously, you understand that guy's busy, but still. The album was described as as impressive as anything Yes has produced collectively. Musicians with greater skills, like Mike Oldfield, have created instrumental works on this scale, but have always been denied access to the wonderful instrument of Jon Anderson's voice. Endless tours have done nothing to detract from one of the richest, purest voices in rock. Elias has a continuity of intensity rarely found on any album, let alone one this ambitious. It won't go down too well with those who reject anything except full tilt rock and roll, yep, but there's no way you can deny the sheer grandeur of Jon Anderson's music, no matter what opinions you hold about rock. One thing that I found interesting is that the record, he said the story and it was really simple when he explains it. And I guess, upon reading the short story, it would kind of help. But when I was just looking at the short story, kind of taking in little bits of it while listening to the music and listening to what he was saying, it seemed way, way, way more complicated than that. To the point where I was like, I'm going to have to spend 40 minutes just talking about the story, thinking it's, and it wasn't, but it's still interesting how it almost not misled. It almost felt more complex, which, I don't know, it's just interesting. I'm saying this in response to a thing I didn't even read out loud, but All Music, someone concluded that the idea seems overly ambitious. And my immediate thought was, it doesn't really seem overly ambitious. It just feels that way when you're first listening to it. But the actual story of the album is super simple for a concept album. Like compared to something like Operation Mindcrime, this is very simple. Anyway, it's been reissued several times. He wanted to, in 2004, he called for collaborators to contact him via his website. He described a project that would be a return to Olias. All right, so he keeps saying that he wants to do it. He said in 2014, he said, "I keep myself busy working on the Zamran project." Sadly, that was apparently the last time it's been mentioned. That's sad. I'd love for John. Maybe now would be a good time, you know? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that is Olias of Sunhillow. I really enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for coming on this journey with me. I really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing as always, and I'll see you all soon. Deathstroke 9 out. We are Legion, my friends. Through the mist of 1,000,000 years of energy, 3 riders skimmed the surface of the plain of Talocross and raced towards a dream. Their meeting point lying between the glades and gardens of Gita and the high mountain masses, where fountains of light and color and soft winds of passion, openly existing through wisdom, surrounded the 3 that silent eve. They sang together, through motion's only ways, as all around them sparkled and chorused in wonder. Olias was to build the ship, the Moorglade Mover. Ranyart was to guide the moment's begotten light. Coquake, a leader, a fashioner of peoples of Sunhillow. 4 tribes lived on Sunhillow and existed through music, rhythms, and tempos. Each of the tribes attained a light of their own through their songs to their stars, so their energy, their souls, their time, and their movements were all accordant to the stars. The dance of Ranyart would start the call, with beams of alternity directed to the skies. Bending the staff of motion's begotten light, he moved with grace within him and charged the air to part and carry him towards the course of passion. Olias had been busy, and having sang his song, the metallic-like trees with their golden leaves jingling like winter snow had motioned their strong roots to slowly dance out of position towards Olias to create the frame of the Moorglade. With spread-eagled wings and high masts with enough room for all, it stood near ready. It needed only to be strengthened and covered, and this was for the fish of the ocean, the Solar, to do. Olias reached out with his voice and sound to ease them from their play. As intertwined and intermoving parts of the ocean rose into the air, glistening in the quick wind, they rushed expectantly towards the frame, and crashed their forms and clasped and died, as all will, and the Moorglade was ready. Hurtling through space amidst countless sister planets, Sunhillow had held the tribes for as long as time would allow. Coquake sat alone in the valley, at close points to all, and sang of the massed lands to the east. As the sound ascended and rang out of the valley, a distant form was heard. Deep rhythms awoke that spelt of a movement, as slowly and surely Nagronium awoke to the message of love and haste. A deep-throated drone from the east was heard as an array of sound converged towards the valley. Metal could be seen glinting and chiming in the western mist. Coquake, trans-like, sang out the rhythms in one clear tone as the singers of the north approached the scene. As they began to mingle, a strange discord arose. Each tribe had not seen of each other and were at once charged to counteract the balance. Only seen through a veil of innocence, still the movement was so strong that all that could move moved towards Coquake, so great was his song. He then gently rose as if not seen at all and guided them towards the ship, the Moorglade Mover. Olias sang out to Coquake as the tribes of sound and their transic state appeared on the plain of Talocross. His song of welcome was to bring them closer to the ship As they climbed on board, the noise rang out within. Rhythms took over rhythm and became more and more intense, so that all in one movement the giant wings of the Moorglade began to take to life. Slowly she dragged herself along the plain, into the ocean, from which point the ocean began to move underneath the feel of the ship. The solar shell counter-reacting with the live, made of sense of vision, and as the Moorglade began to race, inventing speed, a great, writhing tidal wave became, and rose high towards the stars, thrusting the Moorglade high into space, into flight with giant sails, beaming to the stars. And as the ship traveled into space, a thunderous crash was heard in the distance, as Sunhillow exploded into millions of silent teardrops. Inside the ship, all had quieted. And as Olias and Coquake were in unified trance piloting the ship, and Ranyart in deep space of position, the tribes were left to see for themselves their own situation. Almost at once, there was a hum of doubt, which doubled to a noise and shuffle of discontented tremors within. Moon-Ra, the disorientation, had shown its face. They cried and screamed for mercy, tearing at each other's and their own feelings, releasing only fear and pain. The sound was utter disharmony of balance, resounding to such a voiceless pitch and counterpitch, so that which rose from their surroundings was awkward and sullen. Their own fear had created a form from deep within their own souls, and all was bared before them. The form rose and filled the inside walls of Moorglade, so as to split the walls around to such a force and strain as to crash all into the vastness of space to be lost forever. At this moment, Olias awoke from his pilot position, standing, his arms outstretched as he held within him the terror and cries of torment from the people. He sang chords of love and life, caressed the form until it surrendered. The people now, in a dazed light, relaxed and slept underneath a crystal blanket, each in a chrysalis state, as the Moorglade journeyed on through space. A song of love was released and played among them. Ranyart had spelt out the path and danced a cascade of joy as the ship stretched towards the earth. He began to sing a new song of search as he soared over the hills. Clouds moved along with the silent wind as the silver chord of life began. For as the Moorglade came to rest on the plains of Asgard, one mind of many thoughts emerged from within. One sound, one soul, one. And so in parting, Olias, Ranyart, and Coquake climbed to the highest mountain, lying down with eyes fixed to the stars, only seeing the stars. They again became one with the universe and drifted away towards the sun. The way this is written reminds me a little bit of the Silmarillion. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. It's fun doing these types of readings.